Okay, so thank you very much for introduction. And I just will ask you if you may I share my presentation, or yeah, you will share it. Perfect. Okay, so very briefly, I was already introduced. So now I mostly work since the beginning of this year, like a director of Prague Renewable Energy Community. So we can skip to the next slide, please. So this is our community, and on the next slide, I will tell you some basic information about the organization. So this organization was established by City of Prague. So we are like a municipal organization. We work for the municipality in the February of this year. And what is our main goal, or is to offer like a complex services to PV and earth installation for people from Prague and also for the municipal property. And we are able to help the customers from the first idea to the energy optimization of the systems, and to the feasibility studies, and to the investment, and then to the operation and of the whole system. So we already have the license to sell electricity, and now since September of this year, we also have the license to produce renewable electricity within the territory of City of Prague. So because we are just like a pretty new organization, so our goal is to prepare some 20-30 installation, like a pilot installation to the end of this year. And we already got some money from European Investment Bank from the ELENA project, or from the ELENA program. It was mostly 2 million euros for PV and energy efficiency measures for municipal properties. So we are able to invest this money into the preparation of the project, mostly for 100 public buildings, when we have some big projects for the installation of the PV system and make some like measures in energy efficiency. We also got some money from the modernization fund, which we can use in the Czech Republic. So we are also starting with the private investment also on the municipal property. And we also cooperate with the private sector. So as we can see on the next slide, I can a little bit go through the whole process. So now I will ask you will click a little bit more, because there are some visualizations. So yeah, or you can do it like this way, you can click everything. So what I would like only to stress on this picture is that we cooperate in like two target groups, and one target group is like a private building, like a private owners of the family or residential houses. So we offer the services for them. They are investing into the renewable sources or to the PV systems, and we are responsible for electricity supply, for the operation of this system, and so on. And on the other side, we also cooperate with the municipal property or the municipal sector. And in this municipal sector, we are also like a municipal organization, like investors into this renewable sources or this system. So we work with the municipal property, with the municipal companies, and to use some grants which are available in the Czech Republic, mostly grants from the State Environmental Fund. So it's a program for Green for Savings, which is dedicated to residential sector, and also the Modernization Fund, which is dedicated to to non-residential sector or public sector in the Czech Republic. So when you click more, Chris, please. So what are our other stakeholders? We are also publishing the tender for the backup office. So from the beginning of the next year, we will be able to be also like a supplier of the electricity. So the main idea is that we operate the PV system, which we help to install, and all the surpluses we can buy from this installation. And from the beginning of the next year, we will be also the suppliers of the electricity. So we are able to sell this surpluses to other customers, or to other buildings which are, for example, in some heritage zone in the City of Prague, which are not able to install a PV system or something like this. So it's the main idea of our cooperative or our cooperation. And when we move to the next slide. So you can get more information on our webpage. It's CAIC22.cz. So, and through this web page, the customers can contact us. They can fill some basic information about the building, and we can make some preliminary calculation about the payback time period and about the installation capacity and so on. And when we go to next slide, so we already have some first project. So we have 2 projects, or more than 2 projects, but I present just 2 projects which were realized on the residential sector in the municipal property. So there's some small installation about 10 kilowatt peaks, and the next one is also the summer installation. So it was installed during the summer, and now in September 2021, it was put into the operation. Okay, and for the future steps, or what I also would like to stress, when the city of Prague had the idea, or politicians discussed the idea of the establishment of this municipal organization, we also make some survey again among the Prague citizens, and from the surveys, for example, we know, or we have the information that more than 75% of the citizens in Prague, they agree on the active role and support of the city of Prague in the renewable sources, because city of Prague, as also was mentioned from Denmark, we also have the climate plan, which was approved last year, and we have some targets in the climate plan, and also the energy community or renewable sources is one of the main measures which can help with this climate target. Okay, and when we are talking about the future, because we had the local elections last week in the Czech Republic, so we also prepare some strategy for the next politician period to the year 2026. So you can see what are our goals, in the number of installation, in the external sources we would like to bring to the city of Prague about the installed capacity. So we plan that there will be about 75 megawatt peaks of the climate of the installed capacity to the year 2026. And you can see also some other figures in the presentation, like about the savings and CO2 decrease due this installation. So what I would like to say at the end, so we are like a pretty organization. We are able to work with the citizens and also work with the municipal property, and we offer the whole services from the first idea to the operation of the PV system, and also the help with the external sources or the external financing. So I think it's I hope, or it was also approved by the questionnaires, it's a good job we can offer for citizens and for the municipal property, and that is how we work, and we will see in next weeks or months how it's good for the city of Prague. So it's a very brief thing because we are a little bit late. So if you have some question, I'm available.
Diverty asks, are you also looking at renewable energy production options besides photovoltaics? So to diversify the energy mix. In the Netherlands, this is always a big part of the discussion, as it's not always sunny. And she smiles. I think we can all smile at that. So yeah, the question is, and I think it's a very relevant question. Usually, energy communities, the first reflex is photovoltaics, but photovoltaics is intermittent. That has its limitations. Energy communities in combination with other kinds of renewable energies. Do we have any experiences on that? So the question is in particular to Jaroslav and Albert, but if Eystein wants to chip in, then that's fine as well.
Okay, so maybe I can start. Yeah, as I mentioned, we were just established 6 months ago, like half year ago, and the main focus is now on the PV system. But when we work with the municipal sector or also with the residential private sector, we offer some energy evaluation of the buildings, and if there is some potential for also energy efficiency measures or for some other renewable sources measure, we are open to it. But now the first installation or the first project which are also required from us, it's most likely the PV system. But there are some also other projects in the city of Prague which are not dealing with the energy cooperatives, but they focus on another renewable sources, or there are some big EPC projects or other energy efficiency measures. So it just, we are open to it, but not at these days. We have no actual project which differ from PV systems.
Okay, thank you.
And in our case, it's a bit like in Prague. So we are focusing on PV, also because it's easier, at least here. Aeolics energy, it's a bit complex to install next to the, close to the Barcelona area. And then, but we also would like to have at least one example on thermal energy communities using biomass from forest. As you might know, here we have quite a lot of problems with forest fires. So the wood chip from forest, it's one source of at least fighting against it. And we would like to have one energy community on this, but we have not been successful so far. We are trying. So and because what happened with the PV, that once we had one or two of them, then it grew exponentially. So we hope in some areas of our province, the northern ones, that it's more cold in winter. So if we manage to have one energy community focused on thermal, then we hope it will grow also there, and that would be the thing. But now we are mainly focused on PV because it's easier. It's easier. I mean, because it's not really easy, but at least it's starting to work.
Yeah.
And everybody understands that, because then they are also, a lot of them are connected to electric mobility with these energy communities. So the energy community wants to be to buy some cars, to do car sharing, electric car sharing with members of the community. So it's easy to connect that with other. Yeah.
Yeah, that's clear. Thank you very much. Øystein, you raised your hand before, so yeah.
Yeah, well, as I said in my introduction, and as we can clearly hear, that energy communities as a concept can be very different things, and also covers different thematics. And in Copenhagen, one of the energy communities that we are very deep in developing, we are looking at a combination of solar panels, of heat pumps, mainly thermal, but also community management of the local energy system in collaboration with the utility company. As I said, flexuming is also a key to the change, and there we need a strong partnership, not only with the community, but also with the utility company. So yes, it is quite complex, and one of the ways to reduce complexity is to organize. So I think it both sort of produces the problem, but is also the solution to the problem, that a larger complexity also need a better way to organize.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for those three perspectives. And if I can make a little bit of advertising from my own shop, Albert Goyener, we're also working on a project. It's called BCOOP, and it is just to do that, to raise awareness around the potential for bioenergy, not only forest biomass, but also agricultural biomass, and to establish and to explain how that combination of energy community and bioenergy can also be a good fit. But I agree that it is a little bit more complex than photovoltaic based. So yeah, I can't see any more questions on the chat.
I think Thomas raised his hand.
Okay, then if we can give way to Thomas, then.
Yes, hi everybody. Thomas Knott from Forward Energy here. We have gathered some experience with energy communities that don't only focus on PV, but only on a theoretical part at this point, because the energy community is in the process of being founded, and it relies heavily on a hydropower plant. As well as PV, and in comparison to those energy communities that only rely on PV, we get a very much higher self-sufficiency, of course, and this also affects the economic aspects of the energy community very strongly, because this is one of the energy community that might even make it from an economic point of perspective here in Austria. So that's something that should be considered, not always from the discussion, it's not always sunny, but also from the type energy mix and what type of energy community members you can put into the energy community that then will also profit from it. Because with hydropower you get energy all day around, and this makes a huge difference in how to set up the energy community and what effect it can have.
Yep. Thank you very much, Thomas, for this clarification. Yes, you can have energy all day around in certain seasons, at least here in Spain, with growing, with the lack of rain we've had this summer. A lot of the installations are not being able to work, but I completely agree. Having a mix for an energy community, it adds a layer of complexity, clearly, but it does help a lot with self-sufficiency and robustness of your model. So thank you for that contribution. Do we have more raised hands or more questions?
Not as far as I can see.
No. I have one more question, Eva, but I don't know how we are doing for time.
We have the same amount of time as if we would have started punctually, so don't worry.
Okay, so of course this question can open up a broad discussion. I don't know whether that's possible, but we've looked at how the municipalities can participate as legal partners or as even leading partners, or you know, the different roles of municipalities, and the representatives here are two of metropolitan cities and one, I would say, metropolitan region. But do you have any feeling for whether that role, which role would be more appropriate for for a big city or for a small town, or even in rural environments, whether there's the cards are stacked towards one or a different model depending on the size? Stein wants to go first. Well, I can see his hand first. Maybe the others wanted to go as well.
I'm sorry. Yeah, well, that's a very, very good question. And I think size do matter, so to speak, that in villages, then the village itself will be the community. In a large city or larger city like Copenhagen, we have a lot of small villages with very, very close proximity. So we are sort of a cluster of villages. And therefore, I don't think that you could, as a municipality, say we want to be the legal entity or the legal partner in all of energy communities that could be built in the city. We will have a variety of models. What we have heard so far is that both citizens, the utility companies, but also more commercial actors, they think we should be the facilitator more than those who take charge. And we could probably be partner as well, but our main role is to be the facilitator.
Yeah, thanks. Not sure whether Alberto.
Yes. Well, no, Jaroslav, if you want.
Okay, I will be after you. So
okay.
Let's start, Albert.
It's I also think that we should be I mean, in this kind, local administration facilitators, but not leading the process. But what we have seen, at least in our experience, is that because Barcelona province has a very, so everybody thinks about the Barcelona city and the metropolitan area, the big city, but also we have rural areas with municipalities with 20, 30, 50 inhabitants. So you have a mixture of areas. In what we have seen in the small villages, this social part of the feeling like a community is already done. So it's easier to have this idea and to try to make it grow. In the big dense cities, there the municipality has to play the role of in initiating all the process, because there the community relationships are less strong and the distrust and everything. So what we have seen is this easier to start in this in the rural areas, and then the municipality can be like, okay, I'm looking from outside and maybe I help you with some roofs and something, but the idea is yours, and you develop it, and you come to me as a municipality, you come to me to ask for my help, but it's your idea. In the big cities, usually it's on the other way around. It's the municipality, because it's also more linked to energy poverty, at least in our cases. It's the municipality that says, look, I have a sports facility there. Maybe it would be a good idea to build a PV there and then to share energy. So let's go and talk with the neighborhoods associations and, hey, look what I have, would you like to join? So it's a different, for us, it's easier to get it started in a rural area. It's easier.
Yeah. And I think that's an experience we share also at Goyanet. Most of our projects are going with where municipalities are participating are smaller municipalities, and it's more difficult. And then the dynamic is different in a big city. So yeah, Jaroslav.
Yeah. Albert already said something what I also wanted to mention, but when we discussed also the concept of the Prague, because it's like as I presented, it's like a very huge concept from the first idea to the operation, and that we will be within next year like energy supplier also. So when I discussed it with some medium-sized cities, they agreed that for them it's important to have some, like as already Albert mentioned, to have some like a body within the municipal organization which can help with the preparation of the project, and which will be independent, because which can build trust among the people and among the citizens. So it doesn't need to be like a huge model also with the energy supplier and so on. But for example, to start with the setuping of the like an organization within the municipality administration, which can help and which will have like an independent expert which can help the citizens with the first project, and also can help them with financing and with the feasibility studies and maybe with the operation of the system. So I think it can be also, it's required in Czech, in the Czech Republic, from the Czech municipalities, and it can help also for some medium-sized municipalities.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. I see there's another comment. Albert Kalme says, one important thing that municipalities can do is to give their roofs and other infrastructure at the disposition of the community to the energy community to install PV. I think that's sort of been mentioned. So depending on the model, the municipality either lends the use of the roof, or as Albert said, in the mixed community, it installs the PV installations, and that plant is then lent to the energy community. So I think that's been already taken care of. Maybe we should move to the next part of this session, unless there are any very quick comments to be made about this last discussion. Albert Vendrell of the province of Barcelona. So he's the head of the local energy management support team and also of the environmental services department in the Provincial Council of Barcelona. And he will talk more on the legal challenges for municipalities that lie ahead when we talk about energy communities. So Albert, please go ahead.
Okay, thanks. And thanks for the invitation. I'm coming from the Barcelona province. It's not really a municipality, so we are a second level local administration that we help our municipalities to implement policies. So, and excuse me, Chris, the slides I have to ask for going. Okay, so next.
Yes, Eva will.
Eva, okay, yeah. Eva, please. Next slide. So, and from last year, one of the main priorities of our municipalities, it was to start working with energy communities, mainly because they and we see as a key element for the energy transition and to make it more fair and participatory. And next slide, please. And also because in Spain and in Catalonia, we face, so we are in an opportunity scenario after like a walk in the desert, that it was the PV market for 6-7 years because of the legislation that it was with this tax on the sun and so on. Then the things have started to change. In 2019, there was this Spanish law that allowed the self-consumption and also to share PV in 500 meters. It's like it is right now. They are talking about enlarge this distance, but at least within this 500 you can share the PV production. And then a Catalan law from last year also said that in PV and aeolic parks, the bigger ones, 20% of the ownership of these parks must be offered to the local community. It means citizens, companies, energy communities, and local administration. So from this legal point of view, it's an opportunity. The energy community, it's the moment now, but we still face some clouds in the regulation because the Spanish government has not a specific legislation on energy communities. So we are doing in somehow as we can, but there is not a set regulation, but it will come, we hope, because the directives are there and they have to be transposed. And then we are also in a good scenario in terms of funding. There is this next generation funds that quite a lot of them have been dedicated to energy transition and also specifically to energy communities in Spain. And then as a province, we also launched this year a 50 million euros call to implement PV, biomass, and so on. And you will see then how it has helped to energy communities. Next, please, Eva. Our support, the support that we provide to our municipalities, it's technical and legal support. We do feasibility studies, executive projects to tender the installations. Also, the legal documents to create the community and also to manage the community. Then we have some specific, some generic guides on specific topics that everybody can download from the web. Because while working, we have been facing some specific points that needed more clarification. So we have some guides, legal guides mainly, and also we have created a map of the whole province with the potential of the roofs for PV installation of all types of roofs, not just municipal buildings. And now also we are preparing one for the ground for PV on ground. And then this economical support, this renovables, it's in Catalan, renovables 2030 call that it is 50 million euros. Next, please. As I said, it started in 2021. Yes, and it's a work in progress, our support with the communities. So far, we have provided 40 technical supports to our municipalities. The types of communities that we have been supporting, or the creation, we are supporting the creation of those communities. Some of them are in industrial areas, because now, I said before that it's a matter of fairness and of the energy transition, but now it's also a matter of money. I mean, because here in Spain, the energy has tripled the price, and now, especially in some industrial areas, they are really worried about this, because some of the industries will have to close because the energy consumption, it has become the first cost of the industry. So now they are very much looking into ways of reducing the energy cost. So this industrial, then we have also some citizens. We call it with low profile of the municipality. You will see later what does it means. But so energy communities in residential areas led by citizens, cooperatives, also other communities led by the municipality itself, and then we have some mixture of models. And this economical support, as I told you, it's at the end, we have funded 75 projects so far. It's maybe we still have some money left to make the call bigger. We have to talk with our economical department, but so far now we have funded 75 projects up to 15 million euros for energy communities. Next, please. And the main challenges that we have detected with our support to our municipalities, they are not technical, although the electric distributors in Spain are not helping at all with this energy communities development. They are putting all the hurdles, the bigger ones, all the hurdles that they can, but that's not, I mean, that's not a technical, it's a matter of will. And we hope the regulators will force them to follow the law and to do their part in this development. Also not economical, I told you, we are now in a moment where there is a lot of money on the table to implement energy investments for energy transition. The main challenges that we have found, there's the role of the municipalities. As a public administration, we are obliged by the public procurement law and the public administration law, and that makes the things more complicated, at least more slow to develop, and it's an area of that it's very it's moving very fast. So if how the municipality can join this process with the slowness of the public administration, at least here in Spain. Then the other challenge is the governments and the management of these energy communities. In a lot of cases, it's a bottom-up process with it comes from the citizens, but it's also very complicated. So I mean, because you have to deal with energy markets and a lot of administration permissions and things. So it cannot be just based on voluntaries or based just on not professionals. So that's one of the challenges. And then and one that we just can't wait for it, because we cannot do anything to solve it, because it has to come from the Spanish government. But we would like to have a legal framework of energy communities, a clear one, not that it's on the directives, on the European directives, but not on our Spanish legal framework. So that would help. And with all these challenges, what we have achieved, it's to develop 3 main models that are being implemented and are becoming a reality right now in our province. It's, please, Eva, the next one. It's I will show you two models. I'm sorry because the picture is in Catalan, but I will explain you on based on it. I didn't have time to translate it. Sorry. It's the one that we call as energy community led by the municipality. We have some of them already implemented in Barcelona province and also in the rest of Catalonia. We call it energy community because it's a project of the municipality and of the community of the people in the municipality, that it's not really, it has not a legal entity as energy community. It's a shared PV, where the municipality built 1 or 2 or 3 or as many as it can afford PV installations on their buildings, and it shares it with the citizens. Then it has to do a tender, a public tender, where the criteria to join this energy production is set, and then everybody can apply, everybody in the municipality around these 500 meters I told you, around the installation can apply to get some energy for this installation. In these cases, some of the criteria are based on energy poverty. I mean, you have the priority if you have problems to pay your bill. So it's a way of make it more fair, as I told you before. And that's quite, it's now, as I told you, quite a lot of municipalities are trying this way because we already have the models. We already have some experiences that are working, and you can do this shared PV with, it's already on the law, so no problem to do it. I mean, no problem. Yes, it's I mean, it's complex because you have to build this tender and so on, but it's already working. And the next one, please. And this one, it's different, but we also have in our province, I think it's almost 40 that they already they have already started and they have already become energy community. It's but this one is not led by the municipality, but by the citizens. And here the role of the municipality is to, yeah, at least at the beginning, to offer them some talks from people who has already done it, to offer some rooms in the municipality for them to start creating the cooperative. But it's a purchase cooperative. We have it here for I don't know, biological products of the agriculture. So also we have it for energy, and here it's the cooperative is the one that will own the installations, will look for money to implement the installations, and then will sell the energy to its members, and then the rest of energy it has to sell it to the energy market. And this is a legal entity. I mean, this is really a real energy community if you look at the directives. And with this as a legal entity, then you can apply for funds and so on. But that's the thing that I told you before. It cannot just be relied on the operation of this on non-professional people, because it's really complex. So, or whether the cooperative pays an existing energy cooperative, that could be Soma Energia, for example, or another one, or something else happens. And this in the left down part of the slide is this something else happen. Is this they are thinking to create a second degree cooperative with professionals that will have all these energy cooperatives to do this part on the energy market, to do this part, the billing of the the billing of the electricity to their members, and so on and so on. So now it's being created in one part of Barcelona province called Osona County, that they are much further on this energy transition and the energy cooperatives. And as I told you, this is here the municipality has a low profile because they really want to have it. I mean, because as I told you before, if a public administration it's part of this, then at least here in Spain it's getting complicated. But there is this third model that I don't have a slide for it because it's difficult to put on a slide, but this is a mixed one. What does it mean? That what now they are doing, because we had this this funding call, is that they found the legal way to lend so the municipality can lend a PV installation to the energy cooperatives. It's legal, and what happens is that the municipality apply for our funds, because our funding call is just for municipalities, not for citizens. The municipality applies for our funds. The municipality builds the PV plant on their roofs, and then lend it to the citizens cooperatives. That is the one that operates the plant and the one that sells the energy, and so on and so on. And then the municipality is just one member more, another member of the community, but not having a leading role on it. That would be the mixed model, and that's the 2-3 models that we have found that can try to solve some of the challenges that I told you before. The legal one, how I create a cooperative or how I create an energy community, and then how I operate this community, and that's all. The next one, just it's to say goodbye.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Albert.
Good morning. Well, as Chris has said, I'm Leire, and I am working with Chris in Goyener and also in the Y project. And today I will try to explain how energy cooperatives are supporting in energy communities, or how we are doing at Goyener. So next slide. Just to note, Goyener is a non-profit citizen energy cooperative, which is located in the Basque Country in the north of Spain. Currently, we are 16,000 members and 59 workers. We work creating renewable energy projects, and also we supply renewable energy to our partners. But in the last 2 years, we are working quite hard in energy communities, and today I will be centered in this topic. So next slide, that's it. So as we have said during the workshop, according to the European directives, an energy community is a legal entity in which people and entities of the immediate environment, both public and private, are working together to collaborate in an activity related to the energy. They have the aim of providing services to their members and to the local community, but also they have the aim of offering socioeconomic and environmental benefits. Next slide. Well, we believe that renewable energy cooperatives should be a tool to empower people in the topics of renewable energy transition and sovereignty. It should also respond to the local needs, and should help to create a community which should be participant and democratic. Next slide. So in order to help the municipalities to create their own renewable energy cooperative, we are trying to help or support them First of all, creating the cooperative, also developing and searching new energy projects. And we also helping them to work with people to create the community, which from our experience and as Albert has said, is the most difficult part, but also maybe the most important one, because if we want to create a strong and long-lasting cooperative, it is really important to have a strong base or a strong community done. Next slide. Thank you. That's it. Well, in this slide, you can see that the steps that we follow in each town, or well, we are following them more or less to create the local energy community, but mainly since it in the participation and in building the strong community, no? So the first step is just to arouse interest and attract the public of the town or the city. So we just make some awareness campaigns on the city or town. Then we start preparing the cooperative. So we give like some formations. We try to empower people about the renewable energy projects and also about the communities. And we search people that could be interested in the project. And once we have find the people, we go to the next step. So it's to create the renewable energy cooperative. And here we have the promoter group. We create this group and we empower the people from the promoter group. So these people are having like some formation in renewable energy cooperatives, but also in cooperatives, on projects, also in the different legal forms that can have a community. Then once they are empowered, they create different working groups, so the community starts to work. And after, the last step will be just to create the cooperative. It is presented in the town or in the city, and the incorporation of new partners are incorporated to the community. These are the steps that we are helping to different municipalities or towns to do. Once the energy community is done or is registered, then we just work like a kind of consultancy. So they are working on their own. When they have some issues or some questions, they ask to us. We try to help them, but we are not helping that much or helping from that near, I could say. So next slide. We have also created a guide that is how to create a renewable energy community, but from the point of view of the participation. A guide, well, mainly in the guide, they mainly explain the socio-organizational process, because we think that it's as I have said, the most important part of the renewable energy cooperative. Next step. Well, regarding the opportunities that they have, well, the main ones are that they give access to local renewable energy resources. They can or should help also fighting the energy poverty. They are tools to take control and responsibility of energy self-sufficiency by promoting energy democracy. They also generate income that persists in the local economy, and they can help or should help increasing local cohesion. On the other hand, we have also the weaknesses. First of all, the main weakness that we are finding is to get the initial funding from nearby citizens. Also, the complexity of the use of democratic and governance is quite complicated. We are finding also barriers, administrative barriers, mainly to constitute the legal institution. And to finish, we also seen the appropriation of the speech by big companies. So these are the main weaknesses that we are finding. Well, to finish, this was the perspectives of the way that we are working in Goyener. But in the Y project, we are also working in renewable energy communities. So in the Y project, we are working in 5 different use cases. One of them is the use case of the energy communities. Next slide, as you can see here. Next. And the objective of this use case is to develop a set of tools that should help to plan to set up a renewable energy community from the technical, economical, environmental, and social perspectives. So the tool should help to answer the questions that you can see here when we are about to start to creating the community. These questions are prepared to find the most efficient or most convenient community for each case. So these are the questions, well, these are some examples that we should try to answer when we are about to start to create the community. Next slide. So in the Y project, we are working in 2 different scenarios. The first scenario is a municipality that has decided to constitute an energy community. Currently in this town, the energy community is already constituted. They are working in 2 different energy projects, and they are trying to get new partners. They are almost 90 partners nowadays. And the other case is a group of citizens of a neighborhood who wants to become also an energy community. So nowadays we are trying to help them doing so. They are mainly working in energy projects. They are not still an energy community, but they are working on it. So we are trying to get information about those 2 scenarios to feed our tool. And that's all from my side. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer.
So that's Thomas Nacht and Cruz Borges, both of them researchers participating also in the Y project. So
Hi, everybody.
hello, Thomas.
Thank you for the introduction, Chris. As we heard before from Leire, we're in the Y project, and we're also using the Y toolkit on a use case for energy community. And now we would like to take a step back from energy communities and go towards general decision making, energy decision making, which also affects energy communities to a certain degree, because the way we shape our energy system has led to the development of energy communities, and the way energy communities are interpreted and used is a result of this development. Next slide, please. So just give me a short possibility to introduce the Y project. The Y project consists of multiple European partners from different backgrounds. We have 1 university, 3 research organizations, SME industries, and NGOs. And we are working together to create the Set Y toolkit. Next slide, please. So what do we want to do in a Y toolkit? The one main issue that we're facing today, especially when it comes to energy transition, when it comes to energy consumption, but also when it comes to formulating energy communities and setting up energy communities, is that we're not that well aware of what is actually going on in households regarding their energy consumption. For instance, in Austria, a similar approach is chosen in different countries as well, but the profiles change. We use standardized load profiles for households, which is viable if you have tons of households and the average will work out. But energy communities are often smaller and probably more see if I can share. Okay, recording has restored, but I don't see the slides as of now. Oh, Axel is back online. The slides are back online. We're good to go again. So, where was I? So basically, for energy communities, this can also be of value, this information, because once the structure of in external intervention, this could change the setup of the energy community entirely. So maybe the distribution of energy will change. So the economic effects within the energy community changes. And that's something that's quite important and should be considered. Especially when you think about that an energy community will stay in game for a long time. There will be lots of changes. There will be lots of new members, leaving members, changing members, and that's something that we also want to look at. Next slide, please. So currently, even with the advent of energy communities, there are many developments, especially in the last couple of months, that have shifted the focus probably a bit away from the topic and made energy more viable discussion topic. We have a high inflation and risk of poverty, which also translates to risk of energy poverty. Here, energy communities could provide an good possibility to handle that issue. We have soaring energy prices all over Europe. Also, there is, especially in Austria, that's quite interesting. We have a lot of fear mongering regarding energy security and security of supply. So blackout is a huge topic that's being pushed in the media all the time. As I mentioned, energy poverty. We have global warming, but with that there comes a good part. We have a rising awareness for climate change because it's suddenly hitting us in the face right away, and it's not something very subtle anymore. So there's a lot of things going on, and the problem with that is that we simply don't know how to address this topic, especially in the energy sector. Next slide, please. So the problem with the energy sector, and this also translates again to energy communities and planning and execution of energy communities, people in general are quite inert when it comes to behavioral changes. Something very drastic has to happen in order for them to react or to change their behavior. This is especially important when it comes to decision making regarding energy laws, regarding new legislations or regulations. So any transition is a slow and painstaking process for every one of us. So think about energy communities, how long it takes to set up an energy community, given or even how long it takes to set up the laws and rules for energy communities. And from there, we're not even at the point where we know if people will really accept energy communities or adapt their behavior within an energy communities to get more out of it. So that's an issue, and we don't have any means or tools to really address that topic and see how certain changes will affect behavior. Also, any decision we make today in the energy system will likely affect us for the next couple of years, be it investment in renewable energy technologies, the fade out of nuclear energy, for instance. So the main question here is, how do we shape the interventions? How do we get, shape the interventions that we get the best results out of it. So by intervention in the Y project, we mean an external stimulus that leads to a behavioral change, be it a new law, be it a restriction, be it funding, whatsoever. Next slide, please. So how can the Y project and the Y toolkit support here? This is when we set up the presentation, it was focused a bit more on general decision makers, but it also translates very well to decisions within an energy community or the setup of an energy community. So when we make a decision, the Y toolkit provides the benefit that we will consider individuals and their reaction to certain external stimuli. So when, for instance, a new law is passed, the Y toolkit will provide the means to see how the individuals react, and then also will simulate the effects that these interventions have on individual behavior and on investment decisions. This is interesting for energy communities because, for instance, if a new funding scheme will occur and people will start to invest in renewable energies or PV generators or battery storages or backup generators or whatever, the Y toolkit will be able to simulate that even for an energy community. So we will see, okay, the energy community with this new law, there will be a strong shift towards more individual supply. So we might need additional consumers in the energy community because just an energy community with just prosumers will be an energy community that does not exchange much energy. So, and then we will go and be able to simulate the result of the energy behavior on the entire household sector and later scale it up. Next slide, please. So for decision makers, and this is true for political decision makers mainly, we will provide with the Y toolkit the means to define different interventions, so they can set up new taxes, funds, rules, laws, prohibitions, etc., and define scenarios under which these rules should be applied. This could be a positive energy district. This could be even an energy community. So let's see, we have existing energy communities and we pass new laws, we pass new rules. How would those energy communities react to those rules? How would those energy communities change? And would they still be viable? So this is what, thank you. No, that's good. That's good. Next slide. So then you can run the toolkit and see what effects those changes, those interventions would have. You can see how individual households will react. We have a strong focus on households, not industry or other sectors. We can see what investments they will make and how they will change their behavior. So basically also for an energy community, as I mentioned before, this will lead to information on how the structure of the energy community changes and how their energy consumption and generation behavior changes. So with the Y toolkit, you will be capable of simulating the energy community into the far future with new technologies, new decisions, and so on. So, and back to decision makers, this will allow decision makers to compare different interventions and see which set of interventions would be best suited to reach a certain goal. And even what interventions do not satisfy or do not reach that goal, which should lead to a better decision making. Next slide, please. And how are we going to do that? I'll just go very briefly into the simulation components because that's rather technical. So we have a behavior model that's built up on the so-called causal model, which provides the information on a setup of a household, their decision capabilities, their likeliness to invest, to change the behavior, whatever, given on an intervention that is provided externally. We have an energy service model, which is basically a technical representation of households with individual consumption behavior of different devices and different technologies that are considered in there. From there, we can go into an upscaling, taking from the individual household into larger proportions, for instance, from a small scale, a positive energy district to energy communities to countries, even EU-wide consideration, which then is done in so-called energy system models. All right, next slide, and I think this should have been it. Yep, so this is just a brief glimpse into how the Y toolkit can help decision making and should also be a viable tool for an energy community setup where also certain decisions are made and certain effects in behavioral change, technological changes, and so on will affect the energy community. So if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to answer all of them.
Then let's think of, so the Y project offers a number of tools. Some are technical, some are, well, they are in origin technical, but the idea is that they can help in social processes, in decision making, in getting people, in bringing people together. Leir has also talked about the guiding process that Goyener offers to both municipalities and local people who want to set up their energy community. So maybe we'll go back to the first speakers and say, how do you see those tools? Do you get, after these presentations, a feel for what they can do to you, how they can help you? How, yeah, is there a possibility for further collaboration? That's the question. I'll start with Øystein again, because I can see him.
Yeah. Well, as you probably know, that if the way you pronounce can make things different, and we like to say that Copenhagen is Copenhagen. We are open for collaboration. So, of course, you're always welcome to reach out. We have also, as I said, when I had my presentation, that there are these both systemic but also commercial perspectives. There's a lot of people out there trying sort of to model the energy system, and also to model how a governance structure like an energy community, how that affects different kind of energy systems. So far, what I have seen is that it's extremely difficult to make generic models work. And that brings me back to what I said about place, that every place is unique. So you always have to sort of start from the place, and then you can start modeling. That does not mean you don't have the Lego bits to put together, and you need these bits and pieces to make the model. But what we're doing in Copenhagen right now is that we are experimenting with different kinds of models and of energy communities to see what are the necessary fitting bricks that we, at a later stage, maybe can put into a more generic model.
Okay. Maybe, like you say, words are important and words can be misinterpreted. Maybe model and model are two different things also, right, in this context?
Probably.
I don't know whether Thomas wants to react on this.
No, just a brief thing. Yes, you're perfectly right. You always have to adapt to a certain situation. The generic general approach gives a good indication probably, but you're perfectly right. You will need an individual consideration, and I think that's something we are trying to tackle in the project as well. But that's quite hard when you have an EU project with so many different countries and inputs. But nevertheless, yes. Or let's say, even if the model is not adapted to specifically a certain situation, at least the results should be seen in that context. That's something that can always be done, that you consider, okay, this is a more generic model, but certain parts of it can be seen in the context of a specific use case.
Absolutely. And I would very much invite you to Copenhagen to see if we can make a test in Copenhagen of your model.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay. Don't know whether Albert or Jaroslav have anything to contribute.
Okay, maybe for myself, just maybe similar commenters from Copenhagen. So if we should know more about the model, it was just a short presentation, and I didn't know about the Y project before, so I'm sorry. So maybe we saw some more like a technical issues than the precise modeling of the consumption in the households, like the issues with the static of the roofs and with project documentation of the roofs and so on. But if the model can help, for example, in the future when we have more installation and we can have some like a deeper picture about some possibilities of the using of flexibility, for example, from the primary renewable energy community, you're welcome, and it will be interesting for us.
Yeah, that I think we're just now on the verge of getting everything together. So we're just at the puzzling mode where we have the bits and pieces and munching everything together. And I think a more technical description and maybe even a presentation of what the tool then can actually do as a real life presentation. That's something that can be done in the future. And then I think it's also more graspable what we're doing, because now it's quite superficial, the presentation, of course, because going too much into depth would take up a couple of hours. Yeah, but of course there will be the possibility for that soon.
Okay, perfect.
Albert, do you have any?
Yes, I mean, always open to learn and to know other experiences. I'm with these energy communities. The thing that sometimes I think is that since the legal framework, is not the same, but at least we don't have at all here in Spain. It's, for example, the experience of going in and how to start energy communities, and so because it's in the Basque Country, I mean, maybe it's more, yeah, it's more similar of what we are facing here, but yeah, of course, open to know, and some tools can help us. It's and our municipalities especially, we are open.
Yeah, yeah, of course, our situation, the legal uncertainty that you have in Catalonia, we suffer it here as well in the Basque Country. I don't know, there are other countries where the transposition hasn't been done or hasn't been done well. That may be also open to discussion, but and our feeling is that we despite the uncertainty, we press ahead anyway, because we also notice that other actors are going ahead, and it seems that a de facto model could be established once these communities have come online. In fact, the National Institute for Energy Diversification, they've already launched an open call for projects. In fact, they've already adjudicated money. They've granted money to a number of projects for energy communities, despite the fact of there not being a national definition of what an energy community is. So they're using this also as a way of experimenting. They say, well, let's have a call, let's see how people react, what comes out of it, and then probably later on we will define what an energy community is. We might agree with that or not, but it's what we're faced with. Albert, do you? Have you lost the sound or something, or? We can't hear you.
Yeah. No.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get my?
No, I missed it.
Okay. I will get back in touch with you, because this is clearly a very Spanish issue. So I'll get back in touch with you afterwards, and we can discuss this in a little bit more detail.
I was already looking at the Hernani example on the website.
Okay.
But I couldn't find the information I was interested for. So yeah, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm looking for more questions. Any other interventions? Any other people who want to ask a question to any of the speakers? Eva? No?
No, I think, there's one. Is there a way individuals can be part of an already onboarded energy community in your circumstances, let's say?
Of course, in our cases, of course, I mean, you always can, when it's the energy community, as I told you, that it's the citizen one. Yes, you just join the community. If it's the one led by the municipality, that it's a shared PV, then in each municipality, if the tender has already solved and the people chosen. So then you have to wait, because what you get is some production from the PV. So then it's a limited one. Then you have to wait that somebody's going out of the community for you to join it. But then the other ones, of course, because it's, and the will is to get more production, and so more energy and more members.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because I have to leave. Otherwise, I won't make it to Luxembourg in person. So,
No,
thanks.
please come, Albert.
Yeah. So I have to leave now. Thanks,
Okay,
and
Albert.
sorry for the.
Yeah.
Thank you, Albert.
That's
Bye.
I
fine.
think
Thank you.
we're also coming to the end of our time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe just one remark on bringing on new members. It's a very, very common issue for any organizations, especially local communities, is that they sort of tend to become generational. A group of people, parents, form a local community of something, and they get really bonded. And then it becomes more and more difficult for newcomers to get into the room. If you don't have a strategy, how do you welcome strangers? So I think when it comes to these more informal or organizations where they're very important, that it's sort of the local engagement, how do you not make a gated community from a sort of a psychological or sociological point of view? We see it again and again. These organizations, they're founded by some idealistic, energetic people. 30 years on, it's the same people, and then they start sort of, there's a natural process.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a very good point to conclude on. So when you design your energy community, think of how it evolves and how it will evolve, and allow for it to evolve, because you cannot stagnate. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, I will thank all the speakers again for their contribution. It's been a bit more hectic, I think, because of the technical issues at the beginning, but I still think we've had some very interesting points of view. I would have liked to talk a little bit more, and those of you who are interested, both participating in the discussion and offline, happy to talk to you offline on the Y project or on energy communities. So yeah, I think we should keep this discussion going. Thank you very much for this session, Eva. Thanks for organizing it, and we will see you all soon in the next occasion.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.